The resignation of the Director of Children's Services here at County Hall. Michael Rosen came here in 2013 as Assistant Director. He was made Director about a year, 18 months ago, and there have been problems in the Children's Services. Let's look at the situation today first with Alex Dunlop.
In County Hall tonight, as Michael Rosen clears out his desk, councillors deal with yet more fallout from yet another damning Ofsted report. Improvements at children's services have been too slow, says the education regulator. Leaders have not been ruthless enough in pursuing improvement, and children are not consistently receiving good enough services. 13 months ago on Look East, the newly appointed Mr. Rosen predicted that his department would no longer be judged inadequate.
This time next year, I would have ambitions that this authority would be solidly requiring improvement and with some aspects of good.
But today he quit. The immediate improvement priorities for children's services need a director with a different skill set, he said, if the continuing challenges are to be addressed at the pace Norfolk's children deserve. So what's going wrong? Millions of pounds have been invested to turn around Norfolk Children's Services, but it's faced a barrage of criticism along the way. Funding and recruitment is an ongoing issue. Just 2 days ago, a question to the leader of Norfolk County Council. Should Mr. Rosen still be in his job next year?
Well, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't. I really don't. I'll tell you this much. If I find that he is violent, then no. But I don't know that.
Ultimately, say critics, the buck stops with the political leadership at Norfolk County Council. And if things don't improve...
The threat that hangs over Norfolk is that the government takes this service away from the county and puts it into the hands of others. Now, we know from around the country that that in itself doesn't guarantee that then everything will be fine.
The hope is a new leader can turn around children's services. On past form, it's a big ask. Alex Dunlop, BBC Look East.
So there have been many problems over many years. Various people have been brought in to help put things right, but still the situation is not good enough. There's been a row with foster parents as well. Let's get the details from Kim Riley.
Millions of pounds and huge efforts by many people have been invested, but this turnaround project is taking an agonisingly long time to deliver. The inadequate rating given to Children's Services Department 3 years ago by Ofsted hastened the departure of the then director, Lisa Christensen. Sheila Locke, praised for her successful turnaround experience, was brought in as interim director. But there were still real problems with the department when she handed over to Mr. Rosen. The council brought in Mark Gurry, a troubleshooter, to help tackle poor performance. Last December, the government made County Hall the focus of its new improvement regime. David Hill, in charge of children's services in Essex, was given a year to try and finally get results. The department has had a torrid relationship with the Norfolk Foster Care Association.
They have not listened to the voice of Norfolk's children. It is essential for Norfolk to improve that they listen to the children, they find out what is going wrong, and they learn and build on that so that the service can be rated good again.
Labour's George Nobbs knows the challenge at first hand. He was leader of the council from the time of the 2013 Ofsted report.
I think Michael has not had the support he needed, and I think the leader of the council's interview on Wednesday more or less pulled the rug from underneath him, and I think he had no choice but to go. But I think he has done a very honourable thing. I think it is up to others to consider their position. The culture here doesn't encourage people to work and to give them time to succeed.
So another interim director takes up the challenge. The government in the wings warning its patience is running out. Kim Riley, BBC Look East.
Well, Wendy Thompson is the Chief Executive of Norfolk County Council. I went to see her earlier this afternoon, and I wanted to know whether Mr. Rosen had jumped or had been pushed.
It's entirely his decision. Being a Director of Children's Services is a really tough job, as I'm sure people can imagine. It's something that people are continually taking stock, reflecting. I think the recent feedback, from Ofsted, I think he was disappointed for them to be saying what they were about pace. Because Michael's a man, if you know him, he likes to think he can get things done with pace, so he's disappointed to get that feedback. Also hearing the importance of getting more consistent social work practice, and Michael isn't a social worker. So I think he felt the combination of those things was something that would make him best to move on and allow someone else to come in and take up the challenge.
So is he leaving the authority?
Yes.
And does that mean you're having to pay him off?
We don't pay him off. When people resign, they leave. You know, it's just like any other person who has a job. He's not being made redundant. There's no severance cost. He's decided to leave, and he, you know, will take with him all that you'd expect under the normal employment law, which isn't a whole lot.
Did you try to persuade him to stay?
I certainly talked to him on balance, you know, if this was the right thing, because there's risk of having somebody leave at this moment. But, you know, there's only so much pressure you can put on someone, I think, when they're holding a job of that kind of responsibility. So
in some ways you agreed with his decision?
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do in my role. You know, when someone at that level, with a job at that level of responsibility, has come to that view and reached it, you know, with evidence in front of him and a feeling about what he's capable of doing, I think you have to take their judgment.
Did the politicians give him enough support?
I think so. I think I think they have given him the support that he needed. You know, over the last few years, we've invested in children's services when we haven't had money to invest. They've given confidence, you know, to Michael and to his predecessor to build a whole new service.
He would have been appointed while you've been in your position. Right. Do you believe that you got it wrong when you appointed him?
I don't think so. I mean, we had advertised twice for the job. It's not an easy post to fill. People find it pretty challenging, and it's risky, you know, because of the scrutiny. There's not many services in the country that receive this level of scrutiny as children's services do. So the job's hard to fill.
So was he your least bad choice?
I don't think so. I think he was. We appointed him with confidence, and we've supported him fully in the time that he's been here.
They have found certain areas inadequate while Sheila Locke was in charge. With Michael Rosen in charge, certain areas are inadequate. So when does that buck stop with you rather than them?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't think it would be fair to the staff to think that this last monitoring visit showed them to be inadequate, because that hasn't been the case. And that's not what we're expecting to get when they're next here for a full inspection. Yeah, I have a job to do here in the county. I've been doing it, you know, with Michael. I will do it with his the next person we get in. My job is to make sure that we get the best people we can to serve the people that we have. And, you know, I know that that's an important job to be done.
Wendy Thompson, thank you.
Thank you.